Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Hollywood panics at massive drop in LGBT characters on TV. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Coming from Breitbart, GLAAD finds concerning drop in LGBT characters on TV. Demands Hollywood create more inclusive content. More inclusive content? I thought we already had enough inclusive content. Not enough for GLAAD. They want more because for the last 2 years in a row now, there are less, quote, inclusive LGBT characters. Whatever the letters are, there's less of them on TV, and it's hurting their propaganda. Hey, organic stories, that's what we want. We don't care what the characters are this way, that way. Don't try to change society with your stories. Just tell good stories. We don't care what your agenda is. Also from Breitbart, GLAAD president calls on Hollywood to create more transgender characters for TV. Cultural watershed moment is needed. Well, it's not needed. It's not working. If there's a legitimate demand to see something on TV, it will get made for TV. The propaganda has been tremendous over the last few years, but now it's been dropping off, and GLAAD is not happy about that because Hollywood has its own problems. From Deadline, casting directors react to complaints about fewer roles. Quote, all my friends are actors and they're panicked because they're not getting jobs, because production is severely cut back on Hollywood, because Hollywood has been making TV shows and movies that people don't want to see, just pushing an agenda, abusing their positions of power. But now it's caught up with them. From Breitbart, GLAAD finds concerning drop in LGBT characters on TV, demands Hollywood create more inclusive content. The number of LGBT characters in Hollywood TV shows fell more than 20% during the 2023 to 2024 season, with decline seen across broadcast, cable, and streaming shows, according to GLAAD's latest Hollywood report card. GLAAD called the drops concerning and chastised Hollywood studios for failing to create more gay and transgender characters. Well, we know that LGBT stories are crucial now more than ever. It is paramount to see our lives reflected on screen, challenging the misinformation and harmful rhetoric that is running unchecked by politicians and journalists, GLAAD president and CEO Sarah Kate Ellis said in her report. She didn't elaborate on her phrase misinformation and harmful rhetoric. For the 2023 to 2024 period, GLAAD counted 468 LGBT characters, a 21.4% drop from the previous season's total of 596. Of those counted, 36% of the 468 LGBT characters will not be returning next season. The decline can be at least partially attributed to the reduction in the number of TV shows being pumped out as Hollywood studios slash spending in the wake of a faltering U.S. economy under President Joe Biden. But also there was way too much content being produced, and studios have come to understand for their streaming services, having more shows that nobody actually wants to watch is not going to help them get paid subscribers or keep those paid subscribers, so they've cut back severely on new productions. The budget cuts come amidst a perfect storm of economic chaos that includes Americans continuing to cancel their cable TV subscriptions, the steep downturn in TV advertising, and streaming losses in the billions of dollars. For the period, GLAAD counted 24 transgender characters, or 5% of the 468. The percentage held steady compared to the previous period. In reality, transgender people make up less than 1% of the adult population. GLAAD also highlighted gay-themed series that were canceled during the season, including Amazon's A League of Their Own and the Paramount Plus series Grease: Rise of the Pink Ladies. In recent years, GLAAD has upped the pressure on Hollywood studios to embrace the LGBT agenda, especially the transgender agenda. The organization regularly publishes Hollywood report cards that call out studios that have fallen short in terms of gay and transgender representation. GLAAD recently demanded Hollywood create more transgender characters for TV, saying a cultural watershed moment is needed similar to the one that gays experienced in the 1990s. And here is what their demand was, but it's like no one's listening to this demand except me making these videos. From Breitbart, GLAAD president calls on Hollywood to create more transgender characters for TV. Cultural watershed moment is needed. The president and CEO of GLAAD is calling on Hollywood to create more transgender characters for TV, saying a cultural watershed moment is needed similar to the one that gays experienced in the 1990s. Sarah Kate Ellis, who has served as GLAAD's top executive for a decade, spoke to Variety about what she plans to say when she receives a special award during the Emmys. Quote, "We've seen these watershed moments for lesbian, gay, and bisexual representation, whether it was Ellen DeGeneres coming out or Will and Grace," Ellis told the trade publication. "What we don't have yet is a watershed moment for the trans community. I see this opportunity as a chance to speak to the Academy and all of the creators in the room to say that we need that moment. We need you to create and write about trans people because there are over 500 anti-LGBT bills proposed this past year, and most are against trans people and trans of youth. They're not bills against trans people. There are bills that protect biological sex and biologically sexed children, which is only necessary because there is so much of a push of the trans agenda." Ellis is referring to legislation that protects children from irreversible medical procedures, including sex change operations and hormone therapy. The mainstream news media uses the innocuous-sounding term gender-affirming care to describe these procedures, many of which are experimental when it comes to children. Ellis added, "But what's taking up that space in the media right now are political pundits who are talking about trans people with misinformation and in negative ways. We need Hollywood to be the antidote to that." GLAAD's most recent diversity report found that transgender characters accounted for 5.4% of the characters, both regular and recurring, across all platforms on TV from 2022 to 2023. But according to Deadline, people can't find jobs, whether it's an LGBT job or a non-LGBT job, whatever, a regular job. They're not getting jobs in Hollywood right now. Hollywood has spent billions and billions of dollars trying to promote propaganda. People didn't like it. So now they took losses, and they're canceling productions. People can't even find jobs. And in one of the most recent agenda-pushing nonsense moves that Disney and Hollywood could pull, they decided it was necessary to make Doctor Who gay, although they also claimed Doctor Who was already gay. What are they talking about? From Breitbart, Ncuti Gatwa tells Doctor Who fans don't watch. Turn off the TV after his debut ratings failed to impress. He's the new Doctor in the Doctor Who series now controlled by Disney. He's black, he's gay, that's wonderful for him, but it's not enough for people to want to watch the show. And of course, there's a debate going about why did you decide to make Doctor Who gay anyway? What are you doing? According to Pink News, Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor is queer, and other things we learned in Doctor Who's Christmas special. So during their Christmas special, they established this character and decided that Doctor Who needed to be gay. Okay, that's fine. From the AV Club, nobody could stop Russell T Davies, the new showrunner who's managing the Doctor Who series, from making Doctor Who queer. We're not delivering a neutered Doctor. But wasn't he gay all along? Wasn't that the point? From Digital Spy, Doctor Who's Doctor has always been queer. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is, apparently, the perception from the people that actually cared about the character and cared about the series was not that the Doctor was gay. So you're making him gay now to push an agenda. We know they're pushing an agenda because the president and CEO of GLAAD is saying that they're pushing an agenda. They want more LGBT characters. They want more trans characters. Doctor Who is not trans yet, but so far Doctor Who is gay according to them. But then they also say Doctor Who has always been gay. I haven't followed Doctor Who, so I can't really speak to that. I don't believe it because there wouldn't be conflicting stories about it from the people that are trying to promote it. Actor Ncuti Gatwa, now the star of the long-running science fiction series Doctor Who, is telling potential viewers not to watch the show if they don't like his casting or his political preaching. Quote, "Don't watch. Turn off the TV. Go and touch grass, please, for God's sake," Gatwa said of his critics in a recent interview with Variety. As ThatParkPlace.com points out, a great website, the actor is standing on shaky ground if he wants to be openly hostile to the show's existing fans. In Doctor Who, the main character is recast every few years and worked into the show's narrative as a regeneration, the humanoid but alien Time Lord taking on a new physical form and personality. Gatwa is the 15th actor to play the titular character, and the first black and queer iteration of the character after the series' first gender swap with actress Jodie Whittaker taking on the role. To build interest in Gatwa's first appearance, the BBC put out 4 60th anniversary specials that brought back fan favorite David Tennant as the Doctor and Russell T Davies, the former showrunner who resurrected Doctor Who in the mid-2000s and made it a cultural phenomenon for new generations. However, viewers were disappointed by egregiously woke dialogue in Tennant's return. such as a trans character lambasting him for being unable to let go of power because he is male presenting. And in the future, this is something they have to look forward to. They can see a drag queen, Jinx Monsoon, as a villain who will soon be facing off against Gatwa's doctor. And if you weren't sure about maybe them being off base with what they're trying to do with this gay Doctor Who version, Ncuti Gatwa, the guy playing the gay Doctor Who guy, wants Doctor Who to feature a dance scene where the Doctor destroys a monster with twerking. With his own twerking? I don't know, I didn't read that far into the article. Let's not read into this one. Let's just continue with the article, but I don't think this Gatwa guy is doing a lot to benefit the franchise of Doctor Who. At the third Doctor Who special's conclusion, Tennant did not regenerate into Gatwa, but split into two Time Lords, a fluke dubbed bi-generation. Thus, if the Gatwa character fizzles out with fans, Davies can shift the show's focus back to Tennant's character. But after his introduction, Gatwa then had to carry a whole episode on his own, and the ratings were less than impressive. According to That Park Place, The Church on Ruby Road is the second lowest debut episode for any actor playing the Doctor, less than half of the viewers for his female predecessor's introduction. Elsewhere in his interview with Variety, showrunner Davies touched upon the criticism of Doctor Who casting a queer actor to play the Doctor when it is a show that appeals to children and will stream on Disney+. Quote, I think if you're 6 years old, you don't care. Not at all, the producer who created Queer as Folk in the 90s said. But nonetheless, as the world darkens, and I do think the world is darkening around queer rights, there is a joy and celebration and there's a community. Whether you're 12 years old and just beginning to work out who you are, 62 years old and you've never been who you are, or 61 years old like I am and beginning to worry about where we are in society, there is a hero out there cutting his way through the universe, looking damn good in his suits and doing it with a laugh and a smile, he added. As Breitbart News already reported, Gatwa promoted the first season as the star of Doctor Who with a litany of woke grievances from white mediocrity to transphobia. Woke Hollywood cannot continue to push out stories that feature characters with a certain sexuality to promote an agenda. Propaganda is not entertainment. It's one-sided, it's uninteresting, it's two-dimensional, if not one-dimensional. People don't care about these characters because they're unrelatable. They're not unrelatable because of their sexuality. They're unrelatable because they're poorly written, because representation does not equal story, whether it's sexual identity or skin color or religion. Just identifying a certain way doesn't tell a story about a human being that you can relate to. And if you can't relate to it, you can't enjoy it, which means it will not be successful. Pixar used to tell great stories about non-human characters. Toys, for example. Cars, for example. A fish. I can relate to a fish. Just tell it in a humanized way. Give me a human character arc. Don't dehumanize everything by simply putting representation on it and saying, oh, well, that's you. No, it's not me. I'm a human being. I'm not my skin color or my religion or my sexual interests. Whether Hollywood likes it or not, people are not buying in. And when they're not buying in, they cut back on these ridiculous characters. And that's what they're doing. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.